Cyberspace, the geekiest frontier. These are the voyages of the podcast League of Extremely Ordinary Gentlemen. Its 5-year mission to explore strange new fandoms, to seek out plot devices and destroy hackneyed tropes, to boldly split infinitives that have never been split before. Start 8, 2, 4, 7, 8. Something strange has happened passing through a temporal anomaly. I've noticed something peculiar about my crew. Their personalities have altered somehow. Is he saying the same? I don't know what to do. Kirk out.
And
Wow.
All right.
Right when you said Stardate, it was on the screen behind you.
It's amazing that the women that are here are still here.
The only thing I would add to that is Mr. Tambourine Man!
With diamonds.
When I was 35, it was a very good year. A year of limousines and long fur coats.
Is that like 20 years ago?
Yes.
Well, since you got us started, Bo, why don't you take us through the initial introduction?
Well, welcome. It's a new Leog, and we're here to talk about everybody's favorite fandom, the original fandom, Star Trek.
Which you're actually wearing the shirt.
And I am actually in uniform. I am wearing my...
We have to get a picture
with
of that.
Captain Stripes to boot. I am wearing my Command Original Series shirt.
You're so totally getting laid tonight. That's
Yeah,
for
which
sure.
is pretty
man,
much
who doesn't
pretty
get
much the
laid?
reason that I am the only single member of...
Well, you know what? Thank God Fish is here. You might actually have a chance.
I mean, really, who doesn't get laid in a Captain Kirk shirt?
I think
Anybody.
Captain Kirk. I think Captain Kirk's the only one who has.
Come on, yeah.
I mean,
No.
even William Shatner stopped wearing
Well,
those.
I think the new movie has shown us that Spock actually gets more tail. He's just more on the down low. If you know what I'm talking about. But I am here to introduce our fine crew. I am, of course, Bo, and I have with me here my compatriots. They are...
Jason.
Leon.
Oh, Cyrus.
Osiris?
Osiris.
Investigations Officer Fish.
Red shirt Fish.
Fish is wearing a red shirt. We also have some special guests who you may remember. Ladies. Anyone want to call in?
I'm Kristen.
I'm Kayla.
Dude with boobs.
Dr. Girlfriend.
Yeah, Dr. Girlfriend. And Ensign Allison.
And, of course,
Ensign
our
Allison.
regular musical our director.
Our resident badass.
Greg, back from the salt mines.
Yeah, you missed it last week, Greg. You would have loved that show.
Yeah, it's not like we didn't invite you because there were chicks over.
Wait, yeah, let's say I don't think I was invited about this whole chick thing. Why would you guys let me come over?
What are you
for
talking
that?
about? We
Hey,
sent you at
ladies,
least
how
3 or
you
4
doing?
emails. Come on.
What's up, ladies? How you
No,
doing?
we actually didn't.
How you doing?
Ixnay on the emailing
I'm
name.
pretty
Okay.
sure your spam filter.
Okay,
is
let
right.
me say the whole potential here. Bo has a Kirk Enterprise shirt on. Greg is playing the guitar. Science has no method of measuring the distance between these two.
If we get any closer, we're going to create
Singularity.
a temporal singularity, and you will get newer, younger, and better-looking Leog members
I
to
was
come
going
and
to
play us.
say, I think that's dark matter forming between you two.
Red man.
Red
Red
matter.
matter.
Red matter, yeah, in the case of the new movie, which, of course, is the reason we're even doing this.
Can we
Star
do the
Trek
spoiler
podcast.
alert now?
Okay, let's do that, because you know what? Right now, we all saw this movie. I hope we all did. Is there anyone here who hasn't? Okay,
Yeah.
well, then we're spoiling it. Sorry, Allison. You're going to have to deal with it.
Allison hasn't seen it.
Greg hasn't seen it, but he told me early on, you know what? That's fine. I'll see it and love it anyway.
Yeah,
but
he's
you
just
guys
going to go watch The Rock.
For you guys out there, yeah, that's true. He'll be like, yeah, I'm going to go see Star Trek. Oh, there's a game on. And a woman to talk to. Now, we're going to spoil it because we want to talk about this movie more in depth than Corey will allow us without going, you nerds.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. This is going to be the biggest movie probably of the summer, or certainly this weekend.
I mean, Terminator might be huge.
And Rachel dies.
Dude, G.I. Joe, come on.
Oh, shut up.
I'm saying
Yeah,
it is
I'm
one of those
totally
movies that,
kidding.
like, not only is everybody going to see it, but a lot of people are going to see it twice.
No, they are.
I'm gonna see it
gonna
twice.
see it twice. As I said in the review, this is the full price more than once in the theater film. No, it's not perfect, But
it's close enough.
But it's one of those rock and roll adventure films that just makes you feel good all the way through it, and it never gets boring even for a second.
Yeah, and that's it. It just goes straight out, and it's like, okay, temporal anatomy, this is happening. Here's Kirk. He's kind of a snotty guy. Big deal. Go, 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 go. Now, go. Fun. Special effects. Blowing up. Things. All right.
Let's laden it with references from the other films in the series.
So what we're saying
every
is-
now and then, there's a pause, catchphrase, and then go, 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 go.
I'm going to get this out right now. Speaking of catchphrases, and of course, big spoiler, when Kirk meets old Spock, when he meets Leonard Nimoy on the ice planet, and he's
Old
like,
man Spock.
Yeah, when he said, do I know you, or something like that, and he turns around and he says, I have been and always shall be your friend. I nearly lost my shit.
Yeah, I teared up a bit when he met old, he's like, wow, you look like Spock, except like if he was an old book in the library or something.
Yeah.
You look like Spock,
But when
except if he was like really Jewish.
When he turns around and he quotes Wrath of Khan.
I'm sorry. To all the sons of Abraham out there, I'm just shouting out
You're like
for
a
my
cross
man Nimoy.
between Spock and a Shih Tzu.
When he turns around and he quotes Wrath of Khan, though, I got the frog in my throat, and I was like,
There were a few moments in this movie that I was like, I'm a little dewy-eyed. Like, a bunch of them, and I was surprised.
No,
You guys
you're
are
absolutely right.
You guys are forgetting that after Leonard Nimoy says that, Kirk's just like, bullshit. I'm like, oh.
no, yeah, that was pretty classic.
Like, yeah, okay, but let's say this now. Well, we just did spoil something, but like, if you haven't seen it yet, you need to fucking go see it.
Go see it and
Even
then
if you don't think
yeah.
you're a Trek fan, you might very well be a huge one after this, because you're not required to know the first thing about this universe to enjoy.
But you will
this
get
stuff.
so much more out of it if you do.
Yes, that's true.
But by God, if you don't stop listening now, we're going to spoil the fuck out of this like a 16-year-old girl in a bar full of bikers.
Okay,
So,
guys.
come on.
That's cool. That's the part we have to email off to J.J. Abrams to get him to hook us up and let us know what happens next season of Lost. So now we can get on with the regular podcast.
Now, I don't know if you guys remember, and I'm not sure we recorded this, but when we talked about this months ago, just from seeing a trailer, we were all like, this ain't supposed to be the Enterprise that I grew up
Especially,
with. It didn't look nothing like this. They ain't had this kind of technology.
Well, and if you
They're gonna blow
go
it.
with all of the information we had 6 months ago, it was looking dreadful.
Oh yeah, well apparently,
and I'm here to say the whole car chase sequence still sucks. Still
Yeah,
looks
that wasn't
stupid.
all that good.
Could have done without it.
I think Captain Cannon Queen over here was. He was ready to rape and
of
pillage
both.
and
No,
find
yeah.
J.J. Abrams and beat his ass.
You know, when I saw the trailer, I felt the same way he did. I was like, you know what? This isn't right. This looks like... Is Steve Jobs the captain of the Enterprise now?
And J.J. Abrams came out loud and clear. He's like, well, I'm more of a Star Wars fan than a Star Trek fan. And it's just like, well, fuck, why are you directing this whole thing? Here's what it comes down to, though, and the thing that kind of made me change my tune before I saw the movie, ladies and gentlemen, was the fact that the guys who wrote this are canon queens. They're just like me. They're the reason that all those quotes in there. They're the reasons there's all the nudge, nudge, wink, wink, nod, nod, aspersions to the original series and the original movies. And, you know, fucking A, man. They did a great job, and J.J. Abrams did a great job in interpreting their stuff.
Well, the big thing was seeing the trailer from 6 months ago was like the whole talk about like, no, we're not remaking it. It's not a reboot. It's like, well, what is this
Which
then?
is bullshit.
But I mean, it is a reboot. But the whole idea was like, wait, how is this supposed to be them if it's not
If it's not them.
if it's not them rewriting things?
Yeah.
And then you watch the movie and then you like have a totally acceptable, logical explanation for it.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, for everything, the whole time travel, everything that's in there, they explain it all so well that I was just blown away by it.
Okay,
I wouldn't go so far as to say they explain it well, but they explain it in such a manner that you're just like, all right, I'll buy that. Fine, let's go.
I do want to point out one thing, and this is funny. It's only because I've been watching this Blu-ray set of the first season they sent me. I was like, God, I'm so psyched now. I'm so into Star Trek. I'm anxious
Yeah,
to
I
watch
went out and
this.
bought it the next day.
And one of the episodes on it is the Menagerie Volumes 1 and 2. One of the only ones that was actually nominated for an Emmy, which was
Christopher Pike.
originally the first pilot.
Right.
And then they went and
Right.
edited it into an episode with Christopher Pike, the captain who is the guy who kind of like introduces Kirk to the Starfleet in the movie.
Sure.
And I was like, in the episode they go, you remember Christopher Pike? He's the same age as you. I was like, error! Because in the movie he's like 25 years old.
Dude, it's
Yeah.
a parallel universe.
Yes,
you
but it
remember?
doesn't matter because that wouldn't have changed.
Yeah,
with
that
the
wouldn't have
thing
changed.
that changed
So-
time. Because time changed when he was already. His mother was already pregnant with him.
Whoop-diddy-doo.
before things changed time.
Yeah,
So
but-
that
but-
wouldn't have changed in time. They would have still been the same age.
But
Then I changed my mind. The movie sucked.
Yeah, you're right.
yeah,
This is shit.
exactly. Who cares? This is
Fuck it. Let's talk about something else.
This is Ultimate Star Trek.
No, you're right.
It's the same
Yeah.
thing as Ultimate Spider-Man
Oh,
did with
true.
Spider-Man.
Very true.
And granted, when I heard about Ultimate Spider-Man way back in the day, and
We
they were
all
like-
did the same
We
thing.
all did the same thing. We're like, that's a really fucking stupid idea. And it turned out to be one of the best things about Spider-Man in years.
It totally rocked, yes.
And this looks like it for whatever discrepancies there are, I'm like, at the end of this movie, I was like, cool. We've got all the exposition out of the way. I want to see the next movie.
What the
This is
hell's
gonna be
going
awesome.
on over here in the other side of the room?
I
There's
know,
some
the
massive...
The girls are psychically communicating.
They're like-
Girls, Grant, Allison, stop making girl talk.
They're talking about Sex in the
Oh,
City
wow.
again.
They can do that through hand signals?
They can talk about Sex and the City without.
Dude, they can do that with mental powers.
Well, we've got a lot of questions here from fans. We've got a lot to talk about. First, Allison has a special gift.
No.
You still have to get a little closer to the
Which
mic than
one?
that.
That's true. You got a lot to choose from. But
Not the one you did with me and Mary last weekend.
Oh,
the
God.
one with the saw.
That one.
Yeah, you didn't see that one coming?
hopefully that you have like
She
a,
taught you guys how to have sex? That was so nice of her.
No. I showed him how to crochet.
Oh,
Yeah.
Is that what we call it now?
it's practically the same thing.
so. But do you have a Star Trek related gift?
That was the Star Trek related gift.
Sorry, don't lose my...
She actually Allison actually showed Cyrus how to give Mary the Spocker.
Nobody
true.
had sex on Star Trek until 1995.
It
okay?
turns out that the place you have to pinch is not on the shoulder.
Because
right.
I dated this guy once.
There we go.
I'm kidding. He was
But
a-
no,
another
Allison
guy.
has a special gift. She can play the saw, as referred to in episode. I can't even remember what the star date was for the Leog episode.
24/17/289.
Something like that.
It means as much as the star date does in the original.
Which was a surprise to all of us, but she can apparently play the Star Trek
She has
theme
musical
on the
talent.
saw.
On the saw.
Saw SAW.
Yes.
Saw.
And
Not
this is
some
looking
weird-
precarious. She's like about to hack Grant's face off.
Awesome.
It's not like an Ethiopian wind flute or something spelled weird. It's actually like a work saw that she's playing here.
The thing you use to cut boards.
Yes. Or the dead hookers in your basement.
Yeah.
Or the dead hookers.
No. That's all power tools.
Exactly. Yeah.
Trust me. It took you all week with that kind of saw.
I mean, if you want to take your time, do something right, hand tools are the best, right?
Enjoy it.
All I'm saying is plastic bins, a little hydrochloric
Acid.
acid.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
But I want to preface this by saying I'm not an expert, and I just learned how to do this from the internet.
Let's talk more Rocky. Allison.
Exactly.
You will be graded by many trolls on this.
I've learned to do so many things on the internet, but nothing I can do around people.
I'm really looking forward to this myself.
Okay.
You're not going to take your shirt off first? What the hell is this? I'm leaving.
It's a little too dangerous.
This
He was
isn't the
like,
girl episode anymore. We can be obnoxious now.
Oh, can you? I
Yeah,
have a saw.
because I was so reserved last
That
time.
is a good point.
Wait, dude. I'm gonna go put my pants on then. Hold on.
That's funny. You were so mottled looking. I thought those were pants. I'm sorry.
Skin condition.
Etc. and so forth.
Wow, that was awesome. You do. You rock. You so rock.
Quick question. How many marriage proposals have you gotten on Spill?
There's going to be like
0.
80,000 after this.
Yeah. And at least 3 of them will be from Bo.
Yeah.
If she can do that, only imagine what she could do to fix your
Just
computer.
stop.
Yeah.
Crochet, like I said, it's a skill.
Crochet.
Well, imagine what she could do to create you a business card.
I'm curious, Allison. Do you play anything else on the song?
Well, yeah, and I can play the rest of it. That's just, the identifiable part. And I can play Somewhere Over the Rainbow. I'm working on the...
Can we hear a little bit of that?
No. We'll save that for another...
Yeah, it's a Star Trek episode.
Yeah,
We're not
save
going to have
it.
Over the Rainbow.
And I
Well,
can-
maybe you can take us out with it later.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Leo.
all right, we know you're a friend of Dorothy and all, but come on.
Nice.
Stop it.
Nice.
Wow.
You walked into it.
I
What do you
did.
want?
I did.
Wait, what happened?
No.
We had chicks on the last one, so we got Grant watching Sex and City, and you watching Over the Rainbow.
Greg, you need to stop calling me out on that. People just need to forget that I ever said that, damn it.
Forget.
No, forget
I
it.
really wish I could.
This is not the gay joke you're looking for.
For real. I mean, Greg, I'm not even going to go into how phallic a guitar is. Come on.
That's why I play bass, man.
Oh, yeah, because the bass is not phallic at all. Sorry.
You've got a guitar right now, though.
The bass has got the longer neck.
You know, why don't you stop while you're
Yeah, are
ahead?
you proving my point or yours? What's happening?
I also play the oboe.
Okay, well, I think we're going to take this awkward moment to move into the actual questions.
Yeah,
Oh, thank
welcome
God.
to Leon.
Yeah, welcome to Leon. Hey, this is
3
usually-
hours of awkward
This
moments.
is usually my job, Greg. What are you doing? That awkward thing you say that everyone goes, yeah. And Jason was, okay, now I
there we
gotta,
are.
let's move on. And Bo goes, I'm gonna wash my brain out with bleach now.
Ya-da-da-da-da-da. And now, question.
But I actually have an interesting little trivia point in my
And now
research. I
not
figured out.
questions.
Before we get started, does anyone know what Uhura's first name is?
No, because you said it so fast in the movie that you could barely hear it.
Yes, but
Isn't it Neota?
it's Neota. Revealed for the first time in the history of Star Trek in the new movie.
Nerd test, you fail.
It had never. She's the
Wikipedia.
only character of the major character of the series who they had never said what her
Is
first
that right?
name
Because at the
was.
point when he said it, like I didn't know it before, but when he said it, I had the feeling of like, oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it had never been
So
said.
what's Data's first name?
Data doesn't have
Commander?
a first name.
No, it's Roger.
I
Here
don't-
for the first time,
I'm pretty
kids.
sure it's
Roger Data.
I'm pretty sure it's Lyman. I'm just saying.
No, that's Lore's first name. Anyway,
Lyman lore.
but we get beyond ourselves.
But this is
And now, question.
this is Toss, not Ting. At least not yet, anyway.
Oh
That would be
What's going on?
That would
Yeah.
be
What are
the-
you guys talking about? Toss,
that would-
not Ting?
it's-
Roger Data?
No. In Star Trek terms, there's actually a word that was invented
TOS,
for this.
TNG.
Yes, thank you. I was going to get there. It was called retronym,
The original
which is
series?
after the fact they created a TOS, the original series, because they didn't know there was going to be like
Oh,
18,000
gotcha.
more
Okay.
series
Okay.
after that. Okay, so Puerto.
That was so
I think my
nerdy.
virginity just grew back.
Oh, that's beautiful. Hey, everybody. Jason just grew a hymen. Yay!
It hurt.
Well, it really isn't me this week doing the disturbing, weird comments. Okay, I'm glad. All right, Puerto Rican or Greek.
Hopefully, it's somewhere I can reach.
Probably Grecian.
No, it wasn't spelled that way. But then again, this is Spill, so
Yeah, exactly.
It's
It's spill, not spell.
we should create a new kids toy called Spill and Spell.
Oh, I am starting the spell.com site.
Speak and spill.
But he asks, I have not watched or read anything Star Trek, so what would be the best place to start the series? Would it be the original series or
Yes.
the latest one, the latest new movie, or what?
I would suggest you watch the original series, that first 3 seasons, and then wait about 10 years and then watch the next generation.
Well, that worked for you.
Yeah, because
Except it was more like wait like 40 years for you.
whatever. All I'm saying is like by the time they did Next Generation, I was like, oh wow, I'm actually into this show where I thought I was going to hate it. But I think if it had come too soon, it'd have been like, nope, not digging it.
Well, confession time. I'd never really watched any Star Trek until I saw this new movie. I'd seen like bits and pieces here and there of everything else. Yeah, but this new movie is just so amazing that it has made me very interested in trying to catch up and watch all the rest of the stuff. So I'd say go watch this new movie. I think that's a perfect entry point into Star Trek. They seem to reboot everything, and you're introduced to all the new characters.
I mean, considering that most of the people who listen to this show they're about 15 years old, Grant's got a point.
No, I agree with them. That's what I was going to say is really see this movie. You don't need to see the other stuff first to like this movie. And then it'll make you want desperately to see all the rest of the stuff. And there's so much great stuff.
Watch the movie, then go watch the rest of it, the original series, and then go back and watch some of the original movies.
Yeah.
Up until, like the first 3,
honestly,
basically.
they're all worth watching at some level.
You were out of your goddamn monkey mind.
When you have Trek fascination going, you can sit through all the Trek.
Come on, where they go to San Francisco and rescue the fucking whales?
Are you
don't like Star Trek 4?
Star Trek 4 is fucking horrible.
I will fight you
popular
right now.
You like the
4 is
That's not even a difference of opinion. You're just wrong.
No, if 4, they said, hey, we've always gone serious. We've always been a drama. Let's do something a little funny and lighthearted. And they did, and it was a fucking hilarious movie.
Yeah, what was it like
These are
seeing
not the hell
a
your
science
wheels.
fiction prequel that wasn't utter shit, Jason? I'm curious.
But this brings up a point that I asked Jason earlier about what's the differences between the Star Trek people and Star Wars people, and why there isn't like someone who's into both.
There are
plenty of people who are into both.
wait. That's a bullshit duality because there are plenty of people that I love Star Wars. I love Star Trek. I grew up with both of them, and I've got no problem enjoying both of them.
That's true. It's not like they're not mutually.
In fact,
exclusive.
I would say most people in this room would have that.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed the original Star Wars series as well.
Yeah.
Allison has something to add. Apparently, she's doing. I thought she was raising the roof for a second there.
roof.
Oh, were you just
She's
raising the
raising
roof?
She likes Star Trek and Star Wars.
And as far as my answer to the question, I mean, I really think, and I do think it is, go see this movie. But as far as like, oh my god, where should I start? Start anywhere, man. There's selling points about the Next Generation. There's selling points about DS9. There's selling points about the original series. I would personally start with the original series. I would avoid Voyager and Enterprise as starting points.
Yeah.
But those 3 main series, man, starting off on them anywhere.
And,
be fair,
and you
original-
really first have to start off with the 700 paperbacks that are out there. You have to read those to really get it.
There's a set I think out now where it's like just considered to be the best of the original series, which is totally worth buying. There's been sets for years out of various like, hey, what character interests you? There's the best of Klingons. There's the best of the Borg.
Not only
there's
that,
all that. Whatever turns you on, pick that shit up and check it out.
As far as like a cheap place to start, they've got all the original episodes on Hulu. So and knock yourself out.
And the original series is kind of kitschy and kind of dated, but the chemistry between the characters is really what established the series and the cultural phenomenon that it is. I mean, if you go back and watch those original ones, as I've said in a Leog several issues past, like the relationship between the main cast is
Especially
really damn good.
Especially the triad of Dr. McCoy, Mr. Spock, and Kirk.
Yeah.
I mean that's like it's your heart, mind, and conscience dealing with each other. And as far as I'm concerned, as much as I like all the series, I even like Enterprise. But as far as the series that has the most heart, original series all the way.
I can't say I like Enterprise. I think it was... I actually watched all Voyager, went through that. It's not anywhere near as good as... I mean, Deep Space Nine is great. You just got to get past the first season.
Yeah.
But it's fantastic after that.
Voyager
isn't that good, but it has enough good episodes that it's worth sitting through.
I actually really enjoyed Voyager. Maybe it's because it had a girl with elf ears and that's my thing, but it was very enjoyable to me.
It was all the Mirror ripoff episodes, wasn't it?
Okay, here's my problem with Voyager, because Voyager, when it started, like the pilot episode was all like, we're not like the other Trek. We are on a ship and we all hate each other. We have good reason. I'm like, good. Finally, something with some edge.
That lasted all of
2 episodes.
Yeah.
And then after that, they were all lovey-dovey.
Actually, what saved that show was 7 of 9, and not just because of the sex appeal of having this hot
it
chick
was
in
just because of the
spandex.
sex
It
appeal.
was
No,
the
it's
sex
because at that point everyone was going, look, Next Generation's over, and we kind of still want more Borg. And they were like, okay. And they did. They totally delivered on not just her, but some really cool fucking Borg episodes in that series, as well as bringing back the classic Star Trek, that Dark Universe Star Trek stuff, which Deep Space Nine had played with as well. But the whole thing, there's a parallel universe where the Federation is evil. And Voyager did some badass shit with that as well.
Huh. Yeah, I didn't really watch.
Ryan?
Yeah,
but Enterprise just sucks.
I think I didn't really watch anything past
I disagree,
Next Generation.
man. I think the only way that it sucks is it being held up to the other 4 series. But I mean, if you took it, you filed the serial numbers off it, and you put it on to Sci-Fi Network, people would be like, "Oh wow, this is a pretty cool little show."
Well, compared to the rest of the stuff on the Sci-Fi Network, yeah.
Oh yeah, because Sci-Fi Network has never done any good series.
Well, they've done one.
Okay, fine.
Sorry, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just saying. All right.
Yeah, I wouldn't say one.
Spider John has a question that I just had the answer because I found the quote to answer it, and I want to get it out of there, and then we can go back. Spider John, who we like a lot and writes into every single one of these,
he's
says,
a good dude.
What do you think Roddenberry would have said about the various incarnations of his creation since his death, and what do you think Star Trek would look like if he was still alive and at the helm today? Now, I don't know what it would look like if he was at the helm today, although I think that he had kind of played out his position in it at that point.
Sure.
And I think that if you really read the history, it shows that he had some pretty terrible ideas as the movies went out that proved that, yeah, maybe we should just kind of ease Roddenberry out and go, yeah, great job, thanks for the show. But he had a quote where he said, right before he died in 1991, somebody asked him what's going to become of Star Trek in the future. And he said that he hoped that someday some bright young thing would come along and do it again, bigger and better than he had ever done it, and he wished them well.
And make the check out to Gene Roddenberry.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll say, as far as, God bless Gene. He came up with this great idea and gave me so much pleasure. But if you look at DS9, DS9 really started to get interesting right after Gene died because it didn't have to be as sterile. And I love The Next Generation, but it's kind of sterile. It is like, well, we're the Federation. We know what we're doing, and there's never really any problems, and we have a very, very, very high moral high ground that we can stand upon. Whereas after Gene died, DS9 started to go the route of, and I personally think it was influenced a lot by Babylon 5, of saying, hey, people aren't all that great in the future either. There's still some problems with humanity.
This brings in a question from a totally unpronounceable name, Lord Tzenich, who says, doesn't the Prime Directive seem a bit retarded to you? And no, it doesn't.
Absolutely not.
We'll talk about that in a second, but as related to what you're saying, the problem is that Gene was fucking obsessed with the Prime Directive when it got to Next Generation, I feel like. It was all about this kinder, gentler...
By the time it got to Next Generation, he was like, I mean, the reason that I prefer the original series over Next Generation is because Kirk could give a fuck less about the Prime Directive. Kirk was like, man, we're out in batshit nowhere land, outer space, man. Fuck the Prime Directive.
Well, could you guys explain the Prime Directive?
Yeah, what the hell is the Prime Directive?
The Prime Directive is saying that,
it's
anything
very
you can...
anti-colonialism.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, look, we're going to cultures who might not be as advanced as us.
Oh, observe but don't touch kind of thing?
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's basically saying if you run into a planet that's technology is at, say, the level of, the 1700s, you are not allowed to give them AK-47s.
Kind of like how aliens do with us here.
Pretty much.
But
they anally probe us and they leave us alone.
In Next Generation, it got retarded, where it was just like, hey, all these people are dying horribly, and if we could just step in and give them this medicine,
there
sorry.
really needs to be an episode or a book or something that is the reverse Chariots of the Gods, where it's like the Federation is seen as the ancient astronauts. And, yeah,
I'm pretty sure they did something like that in a Trek episode, actually.
If they haven't, I'm sure there's a novel out there that explores it in
one
detail.
I think you said 80,000 novels and comic books.
Well, at the point that Kirk was out there, everything was new. He was kind of a pioneer going out to the Wild West. So the Prime Directive was less of a directive as more of a suggestion.
The Prime Directive was, let's find green chicks and fuck them.
Yeah, there is more of a swashbuckling air to the original series because, like I said, they're flying by the seat of the pants. They're out there. They don't have a lot of authority over them. So, I mean, they really can't. There are several episodes, like I said, that Kirk basically Oh, your whole socioeconomic system? Fuck that. You guys are fucked up, and I'm going to stop you from being fucked up.
Well, like in my favorite episode, he was like, "Hey, I was gonna let you do your thing, but you just said I have to march me and my crew into the death machine.
Yeah,
no, that's not gonna happen.
That's
You're gonna
not
change
happening.
the way you do everything on this entire.
Do you
planet
have any
before I do
idea
that."
what kind of firepower I have hovering above us?
What were you going to say, Allison?
Oh, I was just gonna say, Gene Roddenberry's in that whole waterbed 60s and 70s kind of utopian ideal, where the whole airbrushing shit on the side of your van kind of thing.
Sure, the waterbed
So-
was invented by Robert Heinlein.
It's
so.
true, yes, and I read the book where, yes.
Bitch, I'm gonna marry you.
And I'm sure that goes over great when preceded by bit drama.
all the best marriage proposals to start with that.
That's how it starts.
That was a threat, not a promise.
This magic moment.
As soon as I'm done making you suck me off, I'm taking you to the chapel.
Daddy, how did you and Mommy meet? Well,
Magical skill number 3.
And next comes the part where he clubs you.
In the future, rape is sexy. No, it's really not.
and remember how you were
Really
talking
not.
about you were usually the guy that says the
that
horrible
part
thing.
where I immediately went to saying no, it's not. Jesus Christ.
Anyway, she was saying.
By the time we roll around to the 90s and we've been past the whole yuppie boon, Gene Roddenberry's probably like, yeah, Prime Directive, No, Prime Directive works. No, it's really gonna work. And so TNG is just him arguing with himself about, no, it's really gonna work.
At that point, the Prime Directive is making Gene Roddenberry more money,
Yeah.
I think.
And then Gene Roddenberry died, and the next thing you know, lesbians in DS9. Yeah, baby.
Well, he actually, and I'm sure most of you know this, he actually wrote lyrics to the Star Trek theme song so that he could get credit for it.
Yeah.
So that he could be, even though he didn't really write the music.
Is that the one that Tenacious D sings?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That is the one, yeah.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah, I want to say that.
Star Trek, nothing but Star Trek.
No, not the Bill Murray version.
No, Tenacious D, they do a fantastic version of the Star Trek theme
Yeah,
with the words.
and they sing the actual words. And I think Greg is actually running out to his car to get.
He
the
can't make
lyrics.
my door work.
Okay,
Yeah.
somebody locked the door. Now he's on the other side of it.
But,
I just want to say last thing about Next Generation. Nobody's brought up. I'm assuming like the guy who designed the interior of the Enterprise was the same one who designed Ramada Ends.
No, it does.
I mean, you talk about sterile. Good Lord.
I mean, the sad
Yeah.
thing is that there's so many things about Next Generation that is fantastic.
Number one.
yeah.
Number
I mean,
one.
it's
Where
Wesley
is the
Crusher.
continental breakfast?
Okay, I love Will Wheaton. Not such a big fan of Wesley Crusher. But, no, it's a great show, but it's so goddamn sterile looking. And there's so many elements of the overriding philosophy of it that are just like that. That whole sort of, we can't really interfere. It's not till the, last 2 seasons things start to get really interesting in the sense of, wow, we're getting bitten a little scary. We're breaking the rules a little bit. It starts getting into that whole, like what's going on with Worf with all that shit. Like, hey, you're a member of the Federation, but you're also a Klingon. It starts doing
he's
stuff
got
with
the
his family.
midichlorians.
No, there's no midichlorians because it doesn't suck. So that's my whole point exactly.
I opened myself up to that one.
Yes, you
yes,
did.
you did.
But then, as Bo was saying, DS9, Deep Space Nine, Deep Space Nine, first 2 seasons or first season and a half, same thing, and it doesn't work when you're in a static,
Yeah,
can't
exactly.
move
They're
in
like,
space.
oh,
place.
it's the Next Generation, but we're in a satellite starship, or we're not in a starship, we're in a space station.
And one of Roddenberry's big things was that all the characters who were members of a Star Trek crew always had to be pretty much good all the time. They always had to have the right motives. They always had to mean well, even if they didn't end up, even if they made mistakes. And that's when that all changed.
Yeah,
because
you
Deep
got
Space Nine
Ferengi
suddenly
bartender.
Deep Space Nine suddenly started creating anti-heroes, and these characters here who did stuff like, hey, I'm kind of believe what these terrorists are doing, fuck the goddamn Ferengi and the Romulans and all these people. We're gonna set some bombs and blow them up.
And to be fair, it started out as using one of the first rebellious characters from the Next Generation, which was Ensign Ro. Kira Nerys, Nana Visitor's character, was originally supposed to be Ensign Ro. And then the actress who played that decided she didn't want to do it, so they invented a new character. But they were definitely kind of taking that, like, oh, well, what if we, Next Generation's so nicey nice, why don't we take some interesting political theory and throw it into the mix? And so I think it would have grown through there a lot less faster if it hadn't been for Roddenberry's death, though.
So Zeke Slider, who gets an automatic question every week from now till the end of time,
You
as far as
whore.
I'm concerned.
Oh, because he sent you the Wii?
Because he sent me a Wii,
You
yes.
son of a bitch. Hey, Zeke, I just want you to know you've created dissension in the league. 'Cause everybody hates Cyrus now for getting that.
I can live with that. Zeke Slider asks, if the members of Leog were members of the away party beamed down to an alien planet, who would be the red shirt?
Fish.
Oh, Fish. Come on.
Fish. Automatic
Wait a
answer.
minute.
And
You got to
win.
have more than one red shirt.
Grant.
Oh wait, come on now.
Grant
Sorry,
might be the
dude.
new character who's really popular, who takes everybody by surprise.
Well, that's true. He's
got-
become Chekhov.
He's got kind of a fan club going on, if you've noticed on the side.
He is
I'm
such,
sorry.
He is such a jack-off.
Original Leog, issue 1. The original fucking Avengers are Leon, Bo, and Cyrus. The rest of you assholes can wear all the red fucking shirts, but we're McCoy, Spock, and Kirk.
Bo, I got 2 words for you. Tasha Yar.
Tasha, you're Yar, you little bastard. I know where you sleep.
Yeah, Jason, you're a red shirt too, fucker.
That's all right.
Well, Jason's more like Sulu.
Yeah, exactly. Jason's like Sulu, Chekhov.
Great, I'm the gay Asian dude.
He wasn't gay.
That's
in
what
the
I'm saying. He wasn't gay on the show.
I got ejected to SETI Alpha 6 on Botany Bay, so
Hey, you know what? I'm not gay, but I would totally fuck Kirk. So I'm just saying, I would feel more masculine and more heterosexual after having sex with Kirk.
I don't want to sound like a queer.
so does Zeke have any other questions?
Yeah.
Or
No.
something?
Is Jason actually gay? That's funny. You mentioned that. I'm not kidding.
That's a laugh
Yeah.
riot. Oh my god.
I'm not kidding.
Hold
It's a
on.
question.
Hold on. I got to catch my breath. Okay.
You're the sensitive one about it, Jason. That's
Am I?
why I tease you.
Am I really?
All right, we'll move on to a question that has nothing to do with sex. And oh shit, Iron Man asks, hottest girl from Star Trek. But you know what? There's woman here, so let's say hottest man too,
Yeah.
and gay members.
Well,
like
hey,
Jason.
let's ask the women first.
Yeah, let's do that.
The hottest chick was shit. What's her name?
Your dude, it
Jerry
doesn't-
Ryan. Right? Jerry Ryan? From Deep Space Nine?
Hey, all right. Thank you, Grant. Now let's ask the women.
There's a woman, Sex and the City, right?
Yeah.
You can see how he got confused.
Seriously, Greg, you don't have a mic. Stop.
Yeah.
All right,
Kristen,
I'm
hottest guy.
gonna do the. Why does that have to be a guy? Why can't
It doesn't matter.
Okay, do
yeah.
both.
You're hot.
Because we aren't going to answer hottest guy, so it's only you three who will answer.
I
that.
already did actually.
I guess you
Check
kind
off.
of did.
No, Odo.
I'll answer both. No fucking problem. Come on.
Yeah, we know.
Well, I mean, Odo could be anything you wanted.
That's right.
So,
That's
strictly
right.
speaking, he's not really a male or a female.
Kristen, hottest character.
There you go.
There you go.
It's for me again. It's back to Voyager. It's a tie between Kess and 7 of 9.
Who?
Which one was Cass?
Cass was the Elfier's girl.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. She died early on.
Wait, no, she
and
was-
for all you fanboys out there, really, if you want to get with Kristen, pointed ears really all you need.
Yeah, that does seem
And
to be the
if you've
thing.
got like a furry vest and a curved sword, you are
that's
so
true,
fucking
between-
in, dude.
Oh my god, I so totally have a bat lock.
Wait. Hold on. Just so I'm clear. Who was Cass again?
She was in the first 2 seasons. Her species could only
Yeah.
live for 9 years. So she actually
Bummer.
leaves the ship because she's like, I only have 5 years to live. Bye. And that's why
Yeah, because
they've
she
gone
wants to
on.
go out and party.
Oh,
And
okay.
they
And they
kind of
brought her back in
boring.
the last season for like,
Yeah,
you
she
know,
has like one
she's
episode
a
where
very
she comes
special
back.
episode.
She had to move to Miami. Live out the rest of her life.
Oh, Grant,
Nice.
you old whip.
Grant for the
Boca
win.
Raton.
I've got to go down to Boca Raton. My nephew bought me a summer house down there.
Doctor.
Allison, I've not
He's a
actually heard
urologist. He's very nice.
Oh, Vanessa Redgrave? Is that
No, that doesn't
No,
count.
she's an actress. She's not actually a Star Trek
Vanessa
character.
Redgrave.
No, I was just gonna say.
We're talking about
who's
Star
the
Trek.
Red-headed chick in the cave with Spock.
Oh, yeah.
Was
I-
it
I
Marion
know-
Hartley?
Yeah, it's Miss Marion Hartley.
Marion Hartley, that's it.
Who everybody says Mary resembles, actually.
I know.
Hey, she played David Banner's wife.
So
on
that's
the,
why
the
you're always
Incredible
wanting to
Hulk.
hang out with Allison.
Kayla?
As far as the gentlemen go, I've always liked the Data character, the Spock characters, those guys with very analytical,
Logical
very
and emotionless.
logical, but
Because you
they
like the
have
guys
thought.
you date.
No, but the fact that
Have you looked at her? Does that make you feel emotionless?
but more the fact that they have that little bit of heart, like their fight, that duality. I always
into it.
Yeah, I love that you can move someone like that.
It's
See,
challenge.
That is, yeah, exactly. That's such a woman thing. I want to take the bad boy or the mopey guy, the emo, the one who's
Climb up
all
that
like
mountain
this,
and
not
just
showing
wave a
emotion.
flag
But
at the top.
if ever so often I can bring that out of him, that makes him special.
Okay, Leog listeners, that whole thing about
You see Mr. Iceberg over there? Oh, I can make him go off like a fire.
yeah. You know
Jack, watch this.
You know how last issue they were saying, oh, clean yourself up, put on some nice clothes, and just go ask them. Well, that's a crock of shit right there.
Yes.
Be the troubled, emotionless
Act
guy.
mopey and highly analytical.
Seriously,
Maybe
whenever they-
slap them like you're Sean Connery. Every
Whenever
now
they
and
ask
then.
women, like, well, what's the most attractive thing on a guy? They always go, oh, it's sense of humor. Do not buy that.
That is some shit right there.
Actually,
Because
it's
Bo is a funny motherfucker, and he doesn't get any ass.
No, wait a minute. Come on. Haven't you ever been like? No, haven't you guys ever been to like a comedy club that's right next to a rock club, and you see all this fucking fine ass women that are like up on the comedian shit, where the guitar players and the bass players are going out and it's got fucking comedians. I fucking hate those guys. Oh wait, you've never done that because it doesn't fucking exist.
Bo went to a dark place there.
no.
Sorry.
Oh, he's about to attack me. Jeez.
To go to the actual show, apparently they never had any idea that Spock would be a sex symbol. I mean, I just was reading all about this.
Like Jerry Lewis.
It was a total shock
Lady.
to them, to Leonard Nimoy and everyone, and he was far and away the breakaway sex symbol. People were like, "Oh yeah, William Shatner will be the one," but no.
He was like Ross from
the
Friends.
ladies responded to Spock.
Did they
and
see
they
that
still
Hobbit
do.
music video he did?
Bilbo Baggins.
I think that came
only
later.
be tall.
I think that came later.
All right. Well, guys have not answered. So.
Honestly, Yeoman
I
Rand
did.
from the first season is one of my favorites. Back in the original show, they had Yeomans.
That was back in the
which
60s where
were-
you could smack the yeomans on their ass.
and
when
they
went
did
away.
too. No, they were. It was kind of funny because Kirk was all right. If there was some chick who didn't have a Starfleet uniform on, he was like Corey is at a party. He'd be shoo, right there. He'd be like,
Hey,
that
Spock,
is so
Spock,
true.
I need you to go study some science over there. Hey,
Hey,
how's it going?
Have I told you I'm the captain of an animated enterprise? no,
Hey,
it's true.
hey,
It's
hey.
totally true.
Yeah. How you doing?
You should come back to my pad. I'll show you drawings of my ship.
How you doing? Yeah, I got this website. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, that's Corey. So
I-
because Kirk didn't actually have a website.
I would have to say
He should have.
I like him feisty. So for me, it would either be Kira Nerys, who was just totally fine, or Tasha Yar from
Yar.
the Naked Time episode where she gets
yeah.
down with Data and she's like, "So you fully anatomically correct?"
You're a robot, right?
Yeah. Bow, 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 bow.
No
Robot
stamina
sex.
problems, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. It's like a dildo that can talk.
Exactly.
I am convinced the world would be saved if we had actual sex bots. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Hey,
Oh,
I
many
think we're
problems.
all for that.
Amen.
I mean, as technology gets better, all we're waiting for is
You know what?
The sex bot's got to be right around the corner.
When we introduce sex bots, and I can spend some time with Ginger from Gilligan's Island in her prime, that's gonna make crack look like fucking Diet Coke.
Well, see, that comes
Little buddy.
That comes right back to the holodeck. Like with
Yeah.
Next Generation, when they have a holodeck, I'm like, wait, if you have a
You
technology
know
for a holodeck,
they have
how
to
does
they
any work
have to
get
mop
done?
that fucking holodeck out every fucking 3 hours, dude. Come on.
I gotta tell you, because Worf's into some freaky shit.
I can't believe that you were the first one to actually bring that up in this podcast because it's true.
That Worf reads a lot of hentai.
I need
Captain,
more.
I'm
There need
going
to be
down
more.
to the holodeck to have tentacle sex.
There need to be more tentacles and
Worf
slime.
is a lot of hentai. What are you talking about?
So,
Oh, okay. All right. So Lieutenant Uhura is like one of my all-time iconic crushes.
Hell yeah.
Although, like, as I look at her lately, I don't mean what she is now, but even like look at the old episodes, I go like, wow, she looks so much like my mom, which is really fucked up.
Well, I think why she's really paling in comparison is because Zoe fucking Saldana. Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh, she's not pale in
Incredibly
comparison. It's just, I mean, I still prefer her.
She's just looking like a mom.
I was really like had the hots for the Klingon on which one? Damn it! What's a female Klingon? Which show was? I get confused on them. Was
Think
it
about the
DS9?
Next Generation girls
Was it Next
where
Gen-
they had those twins.
No, not the twins. No, okay, it had to be Voyager then. Was it Voyager?
Oh, the
Klingon half.
Torres.
Yes.
Yeah, she was half Klingon.
Yeah, she was only half. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but maybe my ultimate answer is going to be Ensign Rowe because
nice.
I went to high school with her and I used
You
to
went to
stalk her.
is it CeeLo Ward?
No, it's Michelle Forbes.
Michelle Forbes. You went to high school with Michelle Forbes?
Yeah, she was in the drama department.
Damn, neat.
And,
I hate you.
Yeah, and I thought she was
Thanks, dude.
so hot back
'Cause,
then. I was
like,
always like
not-
sneaking behind shit to get looks at her.
Not only am I a fan of Next Generation, but also a fan of Homicide. She was the medical examiner on
Yeah,
that.
now she's on
Hot
True
in
Blood
both.
and in treatment.
Yeah.
But now you're on Leog, so
I know,
she's
so-
probably sneaking looks at you.
Boy, she's simmering with jealousy.
How's she doing that exactly?
Oh, your voice.
She loves that animated fro.
We all love that animated fro. I like to run my hands through.
That's good.
Wow.
That's
Hey,
good.
Jason, who do you?
Wow.
Of course,
You can't
giving
get your hands to that motherfucker. Come
Of course, given my retro sensibilities, just about every female on the original series, I watch it and I'm just like, oh my, I mean, there was one where Bones like runs into an ex-girlfriend who's like a scientist on some planet. I don't even know who it was, but I was just like, damn, Bones, props.
I don't understand what's so attractive about mini skirts, black hose, and go-go boots.
I'm sorry. Is there something that's not?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, man. I mean, if that's like regulation Federation uniforms
Wait a
for the
minute.
women,
Did you guys say
clearly
something?
it was all men running the Federation.
It's like question asked,
It's like
question
even in the
answered.
future, it's a man's world.
At
Yeah.
that point of the show, yeah.
But really, pretty much all of them in the original series. But also, I know this is a little bit of an oddball one, but Beverly Crusher.
Honestly,
That is oddball, my
when
friend.
I first
Yeah.
watched the show, Next Generation, Beverly Crusher did do it for me, mainly because of the redhead weakness.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, me
But
too.
In retrospect, even in the first season, I'm like, yeah, she's just a little too old for me at that
Yeah,
point.
She was way skinny.
Yeah, she was way skinny too.
No.
And even Troy, honestly, none of the Next Generation main cast members did much for me. As
Who was
far
the
as
one
a
with the
sexy
black
thing.
hair, big puffy?
That was
curly
Lieutenant
hair?
Troy, but her hair was too.
Yeah.
Her hair, she looked like she was in Poison or something.
Yeah.
No. See, Troy was sexy because men do this thing where like we adapt. Like if you're at a convention, I remember being at AggieCon, a convention at Texas A&M.
Dude, AggieCon rocks.
Okay, but
You made it out alive?
I have a Star Trek AggieCon story, but go
It's
ahead.
all super dorky guys and hardly any girls. And there was one girl who was kind of young, a little bit cross-eyed, but yet she was like the thinnest, kind of good-looking girl there. So we're all there like, huh. Well, she wouldn't be bad if.
Wow.
And by the
this
third
is just
day,
not going to end pretty, is
no,
it?
well, it's just like by the third day, we're all like, man, it's just kind of hot. It's just like over time.
Man, by the fifth day, you're like, I'm going to marry that girl someday.
Guys will adapt. So, like, yeah, at first, Counselor Troy is like, but like, by second season, like, damn.
It's true. At 5 p.m. on a Friday night, I'm really picky. And by, 3 o'clock, I go down to the biker bar, and that girl with the cleft palate and the facial tattoo, she's the most
the beard.
beautiful woman I've ever seen.
Okay, so I was at AggieCon back in 1996 or something like that, and they had. Yeah.
Stop talking about AggieCon.
It's actually a huge sci-fi fantasy comic book convention in College Station, Texas, of all places. Yeah.
A place not known for reading in the first place.
Right. No, and it's not known for nerds or anything, but it's huge and it's awesome.
They have like the George Bush Library, right?
Yeah.
If that tells you anything.
Yeah, but
Wait, they have us all like concentrated in one place and there's no murders? I don't know.
Right. But yeah, I went there and I went there one morning and they had like a little mock Kobayashi Maru set up.
What?
Seriously, yeah. They had like the bridge from.
I didn't think this happened outside of Vegas.
No, they had the bridge from the Enterprise. I mean, it was totally low budget, like cardboard walls and little blinking diodes and everything.
No, it was the original Enterprise set.
It looked like it looked like the original Enterprise set.
Jason, of course, was just there scoping for chicks.
No, I was actually probably there looking for like rare Wolverine comics.
If you look at the screen on the original Star Trek series, you know when they're looking at the big screenshot at the bridge, and there's those little lights that go on below.
Yeah.
That's not like a strip of lights. That's actually like individual bulbs, and they have like a tech behind it, like touching a battery to each one.
Yeah,
that's how fucking low
it was
budget
it was that primitive. But you paid $2. And I don't know if it was actually Kobayashi Maru, but you paid $2 to go through this simulation. And it was, and these were all hardcore.
You didn't know what Kobayashi Maru was?
No one knew what the exact experience was of the Kobayashi Maru until the new.
And it was like they ran you through some test. They're like, okay, you're being hailed, and they brought stuff up on the screen and everything. And you got to sit in the captain's chair, but you paid $2, and it was like the A&M Star Trek Club running it, right? I paid my $2. It was like 11 in the morning, and I was fucking hammered. And
Just do you have any stories that don't include the sentence?
Oh my god!
And I was fucking hammered.
No good ones.
I should have gone to
No.
A&M because
No.
apparently, like, you can just be drunk for 4 years and then they just hand you a
pretty
degree.
much. So I pay my $2, and I was like, this is going to be awesome. And I sit in there, and they're like, okay, you have 2 ships approaching. You are being hailed. I'm like, all right, fire photon torpedoes. And they're like, everyone just stopped. Everyone just stopped for a minute, and they're like, Captain, are you sure? I was like, fire photon torpedoes.
I'm a goddamn Betazoid. Fuck you. Fire photon torpedoes.
Yeah, and they were like, well, that's not Starfleet regulation. And I'm like,
fuck Starfleet.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there. I had a lot of scotch or something. I was like, who's sitting in this chair? I am.
Oh,
fire photon torpedoes.
This is what happens when you put a Klingon in the captain's chair.
No, fuck that. Apparently somebody filmed this because that's basically what they did in the movie.
That's true.
So
substitute a apple for a glass of scotch, and that's basically the same fucking thing.
So this went on for a few minutes, and they just decided, okay, we have to obliterate this guy right away and get him out of the chair. And they're like, okay, your weapons are disarmed, and they are now firing on you. And I was like, all right.
Collision course.
That's what I said. I yelled, ramming speed!
That's awesome.
And finally, they just like, all right, you're done. We're going to have to ask you to leave.
You win.
Wow, you actually pissed off the Star Trek geeks. You broke their rules.
Oh, Star Trek geeks are easy to piss
Dude,
off.
you are Kirk.
It was my shining
you
moment.
rewrote the rules of the game.
This went on for like 5 minutes, with these guys getting progressively more pissed off.
And even Kirk wasn't drunk when he did it.
Yeah.
So you're kind of cooler than Kirk.
I said ramming speed, and that's when they were just like, all right, we're done.
Wow.
Hey, if you want to piss off a Star Trek geek, all you have to do is just go up to go, dude, Darth Vader sucks, and they'll be like, it's fucking Star Trek, man. It's completely different.
And when I was losing, I was like, all right, engage the hyperdrive, and they did not take that well at all, because that is a Star Wars contraption.
Well, let's go to another controversial question here from Jimmy B, who asks, who's your favorite captain and why?
Really?
Yeah, that's a controversial question because it doesn't sound like it, but once people start talking about it, somebody's going to say the thing you're not allowed to say. Or
Picard, right?
Janeway.
Janeway.
Someone's going to say it. Who's
the Quantum
that guy?
Leap dude.
Who's the person who's going to say Janeway or whoever the
Scott
name of
Bakula?
Scott Bakula's character.
Yeah, Al or Sam or whatever the hell his name was.
Somebody's going to say it.
Oh, well, I'm not going to be the one to say it, but I will say when it was revealed that she was going to be the captain of Voyager, I have never been more ashamed of the Trek community in my life.
Oh, I
the
agree.
Sexist fucking absolute bullshit that came out. Oh my god, a woman can't be a she can't do this.
My problem's not with that.
What are you fucking talking
My problem's
about?
not at all with the woman.
Oh yeah,
the
they
problem
went
was with
shit fucking bananas crazy.
the problem was with the writing of the character. It
Yeah,
wasn't
no.
even with Kate Mulgrew's portrayal of it. It was the writing of the character was kind of lame.
No,
That's all.
it was very too.
She was like a Catholic school nun. I mean, she was just uptight and bitchy and
She
horrible.
they made her unlikable.
Yeah.
Literally.
Well, to be fair, I mean, you can kind of look at Picard that way. He was very much monastic. I mean, he got laid once. He certainly wasn't. He certainly wasn't the swordsman that William Shatner was.
Okay,
yes, but Picard was a huge sex symbol, and you couldn't say the same thing of Kate Mulgrew.
Well, now you're making the argument. I'm sorry. What are you saying, Allison? I can't hear you.
Allison?
I think she said, "Meow,"
Yeah.
or something like
now
that.
you're making the argument though that a captain has to be sexy.
Allison was
Which you're
totally
gonna get in
soiling the
trouble
couch
there,
over here.
like-
A TV star?
Well,
Yes,
I
does.
do think if they that's the slippery slope.
Plus, there are people who look at-
they could have made a Kate and Kate Mulgrew is not an ugly woman.
No,
by
but
any-
there,
by
but
any
you know,
stretch of
there are people who
imagination.
look at Patrick Stewart who go, "Really? You think he's sexy? The balding, gray-haired,
Yes.
50-something-year-old dude?"
Yes, with that distinguished British accent,
Oh my
and
God.
always kept his cool.
He went on this rant once about how the French flag was not red, white, and blue. It was blue, white, and red. How appropriate that was. And I was like, oh, that's
So
the
hot.
guy right there.
But no, I mean
That's the guy who gets his ass
Hammer
beat.
me like you are powered by gas, sir.
Like you're Anne and Troy.
Both Kirk and Picard had moments where they would let them be human and be fun to be around.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
characters who were like, you know what, I could totally hang out with that guy. I see why they need to be a dick sometimes, when they're doing their job, even to their friends. Because Kirk was a dick to his friends all the time when it was job time.
He teased his friends. He
No,
wasn't
but
a dick
he
to him.
he would be a flat out dick to him. Trust me, like I said, I just rewatched this first season. He was a flat out dick to them sometimes. But when it came down to it, when it was relaxation time, he was like, you know what, guys, all the drinks are on me. Picard would be the one.
He was Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, he was. Picard would be the guy who'd be like,
Hell yeah, he
Picard would be
was.
like, hey, I'm sorry, but I got to make a hard decision here, and I don't mean to hurt your feelings, but you're going to have to be the red shirt. Sorry, go ahead. At least he would explain to you why
True,
you had to
that
die.
is true.
Janeway would just be like, Janeway, what are you doing? She's like, fuck you, I don't have to explain shit to you. And it was like, wow, what character are you writing here as a captain? You just wrote a
And
very
that's what
angry person.
Yeah, that's what I think that the writers were like. Oh, she'd be very hesitant to discuss her emotions. She'd be very detached because she's a female officer, and it's just like, dude, it's the fucking future. That shit doesn't exist anymore. You can show her human side.
So you're saying she was very Hillary Clinton?
I am not going to go there.
That's pretty difficult.
I
To
refuse
try
to
find.
make that.
But as far
Let it roll around for a little bit.
as far as the pretense that a successful female politician has to put on to be successful in the United States, yeah, I think you have a very good point.
What about Benjamin Sisko? He was awesome.
He'd make an excellent voice.
After he decided to become Hawk.
When he got his
had to-
goatee.
he had to embrace his sexiness.
Or I guess it's not a goatee, it's a Van Dyke. Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah, technically
Yeah,
it's a Van
But
Dyke.
when he got his Van Dyke, he was awesome.
Yeah, when he shaved the head, was just like, oh no, bitches, it's on.
Yeah.
Yeah, when
There you go.
when it turned to Quentin Tarantino's Star Trek,
Yeah,
it was
he looked
was
back when he
badass,
played a
yeah.
man called Hawk and like, I'm going to go back to this look.
Yeah. No, because that show really is as close to Star
Oh,
Trek
dude.
as ever come to the Wild West
Now
show.
that I
wanted
think
to
about
be.
it, you know what would have made DS9 better? If they brought Robert Urich on to be his partner.
Oh,
You said no, dude. You totally said Uric. Sorry.
All right, I wasn't going to ask this question, but it came up here. Blue Rhonda asks, there's this weird phenomenon among There's this weird phenomenon among Trek fans of acknowledging, rightfully so, in my opinion, that DS9 is the best overall of all the Trek series. In the Pale Moonlight, in my opinion, is the single greatest episode of Trek ever aired, hands down. Yet still claiming TNG to be their favorite. Why do you think this is? I'm like, I don't know anyone who thinks Deep Space Nine is the best Trek series.
I have one friend who thinks that.
I mean, it's the third best Trek series, no question. It's great,
Sure.
but
Actually, I like it better than Next Generation.
do you really?
Oh yeah.
Okay, all right.
I've got no problem with her thesis, but when it comes out of this, it's just like there's so many movies. There are 5 fucking series. There's if you really want to get your superlative, what was the best episode ever? How many episodes of all the Star Trek things put together are there? Thousands at this point. I mean, I'm sorry, it's going to be hard to pick one. Maybe it's in the Pale Moonlight. Who knows? Not me.
And certainly more coming, because there's no way after
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
inevitable... I mean, there's no way this movie isn't going to be a gigantic success. Am I wrong here? Is there anyone who disagrees?
The
with fact
only
that this-
way, because there's been like 4 or 5 preview screenings of it. Like if everybody got to see it
Yeah,
during those 5
exactly.
screenings.
Yeah. Kayla?
Well, I can tell it's going to be huge because I've mentioned before I'm a first grade teacher, and the kids are already insane. They were like,
Awesome.
You're seeing Star Trek? Oh my god!
They can
Can
hardly
you
wait.
take me?
I can hardly wait to
Like-
go to Burger King.
That is really cool.
Like, there's a huge barometer for movies. Like, the newer Batman ones, The Dark Knight, my kids have been getting that as birthday presents. I'm like, I could only watch that once. So these kids watch anything. Their parents have no rules. And they are so insane about Star Trek already. And
Wow.
they can't even see
I'm
it
so
yet.
happy to hear
fantastic.
that. Because,
So-
there's nothing I want more than to see that type of energy injected back into this world.
That's right.
I mean, the thing is that all these people, all these kids and everything are going to be, suddenly they're going to be interested in watching this just dearth of available Star Trek stuff that's already out there. And so much of it is truly, really amazing. And I think they're really going to like it. So that's fucking fantastic.
It's funny, I got a call from my 9-year-old nephew the other day telling me, oh my gosh, guess what? I get to see an early screening of Wolverine Origins. I was like, really badass? Because I hadn't seen it yet. And I was like, oh, you got to tell me how it is. And he was like, I thought it was cool. And I'd already seen it. I was like, oh, you did? And I just suddenly was judging my 10-year-old nephew for having liked it. And I was just like, I feel bad. Because he's like, yeah, it was so awesome. Didn't you like this part? And I was like,
They are very, very
Yeah.
forgiving. The kids are.
Well, when you're like, okay, like
No,
say
but,
you've
like-
never seen a movie before, okay, and you go in and they show you Troll 2. I'm just picking this because Kayla's here.
Troll 2, watched it the other day. Fucking awesome.
Okay,
Are we
our
not
best
high-fiving?
our best worst
I'll
review
high-five
will
you.
be coming up here shortly. Allison, did you have a?
I have a story about how forgiving and crazy kids are. I was standing outside waiting to go into a movie once, and there was the Fast and the Furious poster up, and some kids were standing there with their dad, and they're like, "Oh, Fast and the Furious! Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, we should get walkie-talkies because." Yeah, then we could talk to dogs. So
What?
I don't know.
How did that connect to Fast and the Furious? I'm totally lost.
No idea.
It's showing the same kind of like attention span and
Whatever.
diagram of interest is like, oh, Fast and Furious is cool, dude. We should totally get walkie-talkies and talk to dogs.
And Allison is like, that is a great fucking idea.
And you know what?
down.
I think that dogs only talk through Saw.
Yeah.
The only way
Next thing
we
you know,
can
Allison
communicate
is
with
like the son of Sam.
daughter of Sam.
Daughter of
Very
Sam.
much.
Yeah. Daughter of Sam with, or son of Sam with
I
boobs.
dated Sam once.
Actually, that's weird because I remember this Pauline Kael review where she talked about how cool it would be to have a walkie-talkie that could talk to dogs.
Did she talk about that?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
That's how they work. That's how kids' minds work.
It's true. So
That's how Cyrus's mind works too. So
So let's talk about General Hospital. No. Okay.
Anyway, I'm pretty sure that Wolverine going up against Star Trek this weekend is just going to destroy Wolverine.
I hope so.
There's actually a There was actually a comic in '96 of it was Star Trek Wolverine
That's right.
or X-Men.
Yeah.
And you see Spock go up against Wolverine, and Spock just suddenly just puts the Klingon pinch on his neck, and Wolverine's out. It was awesome. He just
That's right. There was a Star Trek. There was a Star Trek X-Men crossover. I forgot all about that.
And they go Dr. McCoy, and both McCoy and Beast look up and are like, huh?
Dumbest idea possibly in comics history.
It's true,
funny.
but it was totally worth it for that Dr. McCoy.
But then how things started, it all came together because of the resemblance of Patrick Stewart to Professor Xavier,
yes.
way before they cast him as Professor
Which
Xavier.
was so one of those totally obvious things.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that. The Next Generation on this. This was the original Star Trek. TOS.
Well, then never mind.
It's okay.
But it was gimmicky. But from what I read of the story, I didn't actually read the whole comic. It sounded pretty hilarious. It didn't sound so bad for a gimmick comic.
Wait, what year did you say this was?
96?
Yeah, it's been a while.
I'm talking about something from 87.
So I've got like a question here that actually I think this is pretty interesting. I do want to talk about this from a new question asker, Heyra666. Heyra! Evil.
Okay, change the name.
It says, I am not a huge Trek fan. I haven't really seen any of the original series, and I've only watched a couple of dozen episodes of the... This is actually not the question I meant to answer, but I'm kind of drunk.
Awesome.
I've only watched a couple of dozen episodes of The Next Generation. I do have a rudimentary knowledge of the Trekverse and seen Wrath of Khan and loved it. Will I like the new movie?
I actually asked this. This was me.
Oh, are you Heyra?
Satan.
No. I was kidding. But I'm pretty much like this person, and the answer is yes.
Yes. Anybody have anything different to say about that? Is
No.
there any reason that someone who thinks they don't even like Star Trek wouldn't like the new movie?
No, not at all.
I mean, like someone who walks in with a preconceived notion Star Trek sucks.
No,
and their friend
this-
took them to see this
In
anyway.
fact, if anything, like this is the first movie that really, other than maybe Wrath of Khan, that you can take somebody to go see. They don't need to know anything else about the fucking franchise, and they'll
There's a different...
enjoy the hell out of it.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's a
I know
definite
somebody.
nerdverse, too.
My dad. who would wonder, who would still be wondering, like, really? This is the kind of shit that you like to watch?
Yeah, and I gotta admit, my grandmother wouldn't like it either, and neither would anybody else that went to go see the movie with her, because it would be, why is he doing that? Where are they going? Why is he wearing a blue shirt? Why is he wearing a red shirt? So yeah, you got something there, but nothing really tangible. Yeah. So
You still like them supersonic men, boy?
Why don't you watch stories
my
about
God.
real peoples?
and now you see why Leon ended up being Leon.
Like Ronald Reagan.
But this new Star Trek movie is just a fun adventure movie. It's not even. It doesn't get into so much of the nerdery. It hits on some of the stuff that'll be fun for the people who are diehard Trekkers. But otherwise, it's just a fun adventure movie that will appeal to anyone who's looking for something like
I
that.
love that
It's
that was
lacking
a
for
politically
while.
correct way to say Trek fan is Trekkers. That is correct.
J.J. Abrams basically said, I want to make something along the lines of a Star Wars movie, and he did. He and that's the thing about, you can take anyone to see Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and they're going to like it and not really worry about, like, who's that? What's the Force? I don't get it. They're pretty much going to go along with it. And that's what this movie is. It's so fast-paced, it runs so fast that you don't really care so much about, like, plot holes or anything else. You're just like, wow, this is fun. What's happening next? What's happening next?
But he has I don't know if this is Abrams or whoever wrote it, but they dumb down everything. They make it very simple and easy to understand. That it wasn't like I was confused when they brought up red matter or whatever else. It was just like, this is what it is, this is what it does, and you don't have to worry about all the other stuff. Anyone else who really invests themselves in a lot of the Trekker mythology will know all the background story around this, but otherwise, you just get it, and it's very, very straightforward for the newbie viewer.
Very accessible.
It's a lot like an old comic book. I mean, it brings in fantastic elements, but there's nothing that you have to have, like, a PhD in Trekology to understand. It's just there, and you're like,
It just
oh,
helps
all right.
a little to know about the background.
Something that I would like to bring up, I don't know if you had a plan on when we were going to work this in, Cyrus.
No, go ahead.
But there's the IDW, this company is doing new Star Trek comic books. And Cyrus gave me a bunch to look over, for the podcast. And like a lot of the regular ones, I'm like, yeah, I guess they're okay. Just Star Trek doesn't work for me as well in comic books. However, they have the prequel. I'm not prequel, but just like the preview to the movie, like a storyline,
four-issue
four-issue called Countdown that sets up everything leading up to the new Star Trek movie. And my God, is it good? I mean, they really they bring it in from Next Generation. Where you get to see the character, the villain Nero, from the very beginning. I mean, you get to see where he has a friendship with Spock. Yeah. And they see that the problem's coming on.
And by the way, for everybody, and Nero's basically he's not some Romulan supervillain. He's a construction worker.
He's a miner, but
yeah, he's a miner.
But this takes you all the way back to where you see Nero as a family man, as a good dude. Yeah, him and Spock bond as good friends. He's like, you know what? The rest of the Romulans don't trust you, but I do. And I think you
which
can
is
save
definitely
us.
one of the things lacking in this movie. For all of its great points, there's not a lot of character development, and there's some things about Nero that they do set him up like he's obviously a civilian. When the captain says to him, "I'm Captain Christopher Pike," he's like, "Hello, Christopher," and he keeps on addressing him as Christopher, and he's like,
he has no military.
Yeah, there's no military, and basically, his ship. I mean, it's a giant space backhoe.
Well,
I
think part of the point of that line specifically, which creates a laugh in the theater, is to show his disdain.
Right, where he's like, "I'm not impressed by your title.
I don't give a shit what your title is. I'm not going to respect you in that sense. You're just that dude, Chris."
I don't even get it because he doesn't sneer when he says it. He's just looking and he's like, "Okay, Christopher, here's the I think it's just it's showing that he is a civilian."
In that particular case, he's very matter of fact of, "You need to get out of my way." Yeah. Which is his whole point. I have a revenge to carry out. It's nothing personal against you, but I have like 8 more planets to blow up. So if you would just step aside so I can kill everyone you've ever known, it'll be fine.
If you just kindly do that. But I would never. It's the first time in a while that I really would highly recommend a comic book series to read. If you come out of the movie, you're going to be pumped up, and you read this. It sets up. Why does this mining ship have all these weapons?
You really enjoyed it.
I really did,
and that is something that I actually, as far as like problems with the movie, that was one of my major ones. It's like, okay, this is a mining ship, it's a construction ship. Why do you have these badass fucking weapons?
If you read this, it'll answer like any minor problems you might still have with the movie. You read this,
any
and
minor problems?
Well,
it's funny because Nero's a miner. Yada yada yada. No,
if anybody was going to do that, it was going to be.
As far as
I'll be here all week.
As far as canon fact geeks like myself, this is going to clear up some.
Yeah,
issues.
But they do it by bringing in Data and Picard and Worf and Geordi. And you're like, wow, they weave the Next Generation.
And not a way that it feels like forced.
No, it doesn't feel forced at all.
You've got to remember, all this starts in their time period, and around the time that All Good Things happens, the last Next Generation episode, which is 10, 15 years past the end of the show. They've all gotten a little gray. They're admirals and shit. So it feels like what would be happening, and then the level to which they would be involved if Romulus fucking blew up. If the Romulan home planet was destroyed, 99% of the race suddenly died, it would be a pretty big issue. And the big guys, which are the Next Generation crew, would be involved at that point. And it explains some things that are interesting, like Spock's weird super ship, which is one of the things that bothered me here. I was like, what the fuck is that thing? That weird ship he's flying around. Comic book totally deals with that. It's like, oh, here's what this is, where it came from. Geordi LaForge built it. I
know they didn't, but reading it almost gave me the impression of like, wow, this could have all been filmed and then just cut out for length.
However, that being said, while I love the technical explanations, I never felt any more comfortable with the whole Nero explanation, with the whole like, okay, I think if anything, it made me less comfortable with him being that pissed off, because you're like, well, wait, any vaguely rational person, even with being angry as fuck after 25 years, would go, you know what, this totally wasn't Spock's fault. He did everything in his power to help us, and to be pissed off at him is really the reaction of like a 3-year-old.
But it's more like it's displaced anger, because he's angry at the Vulcan Council.
25 years.
True. Hey, I'm not saying the dude's right.
I know the Romulans are like that side of the. All right, so
but the Romulans are like the Middle Easterns, where things things that happened 25 years ago to
Did
them.
you just say the Middle Easterns?
Sorry, Middle Easterners. Sorry.
We've all drank a lot of beer.
Yeah. Go.
Well, the Romulans are the cousin race of the Vulcans,
Right.
All right.
But
In the history, the Vulcans
they don't forgive. Like
They
something,
don't-
something
yeah.
happened 25 years ago. It's the same as if it
They-
happened
they-
yesterday.
they don't
the
let
reason
go.
the Vulcans have the logic thing and all that stuff is because there's this point they were super, super warlike, and they were like, we're going to destroy ourselves. And the Romulans were Vulcans at that point. And they said, no, we don't agree with this whole we're going to be logical and get away with emotions stuff.
And in
do
fact,
away with emotions.
in the movie, Ben Cross,
The look on Greg's face is hilarious.
The fact that he's like, y'all, you actually know this, Cyrus?
You probably didn't even know, but you're looking at Cyrus like, you pathetic son of a bitch.
No, he's sitting there going, man, if I add together the numbers of all the high scores of basketball from my favorite team in the last 6 years, it matches the Bible code.
He had this sneer on his face, just like, oh.
No, it's because it was because of the lick I was playing. I was holding on to this nice blues lick. I was trying to do my best BB King face.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so you weren't being too cool for school.
Anyway, I really like
apparently BB King hates Trekkers too.
He probably doesn't even know what Trekkers are.
But no, at one point, Ben Cross in the movie actually tells the
who
young,
plays Spock's dad?
who plays Sarek, Spock's dad, an excellent casting choice, by the way.
Perfect casting choice.
He tells the young Spock, it's like, in many ways, we are far more emotional than humans.
Okay, what didn't we like about the new movie?
I did not like the, hey, I just got ejected onto an ice planet, an entire planet. Oh, hey, there's Spock. You know, it's just like a totally desolate planet, and yet Kirk and Spock end up running into each other.
Maybe it was a really tiny planet.
Can I answer that?
Yeah, please.
I felt like there was this moment where, like, shortly after that, they ran into Scotty, and Spock goes, fascinating. And that happens again later on with something else where it's just this wild coincidence. And I really thought what they were going for, you know, I mean, you gotta remember, this is a time travel movie, like parallel universes. So what they were going for was Spock realizing, however subtly, that certain things are meant to happen.
Yeah.
That certain things like time you can't do but so much to change the events of
I
time.
was
and
just
they were going there with that.
I was just rereading Orphans of the Sky, which is a Robert Heinlein novel, and basically he explains coincidence, and he's just like, yeah, sometimes coincidence happens, but without those coincidences, I wouldn't have a story.
Yeah,
to
there
tell
are
you,
no good
so
stories
fuck it.
without coincidence.
You know? And it's just like, well, you know, so Kirk goes down on the desolate ice planet, he doesn't meet Spock, and he goes to the fucking Starfleet place and gets himself clapped in irons and gets kicked out of Starfleet. Wah wah. You know, who the fuck cares? But, you know, within this, you know, hard to believe, but yet still believable framework of coincidence, we get a great story, and that's what we want. So
I didn't like
I don't have that much of a problem with it.
I didn't like the Jar Jar-esque, I'm sorry, Kayla, but the Jar Jar-esque character that was the sidekick of Scotty. I loved him. Although they didn't.
I loved him.
I liked
didn't
him
like
too.
the mist-like creature, because at first you heard that whale sound, and you're like, it's gonna be a whale, it's gonna be a whale, and there was that red creature, and I was like, meh.
Wait, what was this?
When they were on Hoth.
When they were on Hoth and the big Sarlacc comes out to eat the Wampa.
No,
when he's running away from the one creature and the bigger creature eats it, and then all of a sudden Qui-Gon goes, "There's always a bigger fish."
Yeah, exactly.
And everyone's eyes roll.
Yeah, and the Cloverfield monster comes up.
No, I definitely, you know, there are lots of places to find problems. I mean, I'm sorry that there are parts in the script that have holes in it that you could drive a semi through, and you know, there are little things. I didn't really buy Nero all that much as a villain, and also it's just like, so this big ship comes and, you know, starts wreaking havoc with Vulcan, and what happened to all the fucking Vulcan ships? I mean, they're not like, you know, they're not completely peaceable. There are actually warlike. They have warships. They're not around. I mean, little things.
the part in the movie that almost lost me and then, went away and I never think about it again. But it's 200 years in the future. We have spaceships and aliens and you're going to play a Beastie Boys song from 1994?
Oh, God, yeah.
Yes! Not acceptable.
I know.
Yes, the
that
classics
was
never die.
basically the equivalent of, like, he ripped off, like, a pair of Clydesdales and a wagon and started going down a dirt road playing Pachelbel's Canon in D.
Yeah, it was like,
I'm sorry,
it totally took
but
me out of the
no.
movie.
Well, that was
That
was actually
totally out Dennis Miller me right there.
Well, that was actually an in joke because there is this famous, and it's a clip, but you can find it on YouTube or whatever, of William Shatner butchering Sabotage, the pronunciation of it.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I didn't know that because I had to agree with Kristen here. That was the only thing in this whole movie that really took me out.
It was an in-joke dig at William Shatner because there's an audio of
well,
him.
then J.J. Abrams, fuck your in joke.
There's an audio of William Shatner going, "It must have been sabotage," and then you hear,
To be fair, if
Suffering sabotage.
it would have worked better if he was listening to Rocket Man.
right.
I'm
but
just
you
saying.
you actually hear someone go, actually, Bill, it's sabotage. No. That's how you pronounce it sabotage. I pronounce it sabotage.
He is Canadian.
And he was being a total dick about it. And so that's why J.J. Abrams put the song in there.
But that whole sequence is unnecessary and
It is.
awkward.
I thought it was fun.
Totally drop it.
Well,
I mean,
and not
I-
only that, but the main reason for that sequence and whatever YouTube reference, whatever. But when he's dealing around on the quote unquote
Nokia
radio,
product placement.
Nokia, big product placement. There was also Budweiser
the
product
And,
placement.
ringtone,
Yeah.
And his stepdad
Yeah.
is actually Greg Grunberg, so he does make an appearance
Oh yeah,
in this
and
movie.
that, yeah,
that voice
the-
is Greg Grunberg.
The da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. It's like really.
Well, to some, okay, these movies are expensive. One.
Oh yeah,
And we're going to
I
see a
understand.
lot more of that sort of thing in the future. And I don't mean the Star Trek future. I just mean future, like our future.
You mean like the Minority Report future?
Get used to seeing more of this sort of stuff. I just read a big thing on this recently saying, look, this is what you're going to have to get used to, more of this stuff.
It's
and
like
hopefully
soon-
they'll
yeah.
be artistic about making it subtle in the background. As far as that goes, I was like, you know what? That made me laugh because the odds are in the future there's going to be, and that even that distant future, there's going to be some shit that'll still
product
be sticking
placements.
around. to
Soon
that
enough,
level.
we're going to see Superman thrown into a giant Coke sign.
I mean,
That'd be
how many
horrible.
years ago was Pachelbel's Canon? But I think all of us know what that sounds like at this point. We all know what that music is. I'm just saying there are things that hundreds of years from now will
And it's
still
true.
be recognizable and used.
I do think like 300, 400 years in the future, when a bride and groom are walking down the aisle, they will be playing Sabotage. Sabotage.
Listen, all y'all, it's sabotage.
Down, y'all, it's Sabotage.
so totally gonna have to play that on Rock Band when this is done.
Well, I
But,
did read a thing that kind of said, sci-fi is dated the instant that it comes out. No matter what kind of sci-fi it is, printed, film, whatever, the instant that it comes out, it's dated.
That's
so
true.
this is just the warhead bras and go-go boots
Yeah.
of the
It's the Madonna.
2K.
Well, go back and read Snow Crash and Neuromancer,
Which
and
are still fantastic.
they are, but they're not nearly as prescient.
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah. When they talk about the Japanese taking over the world economy,
Right.
You meant Chinese? I'm sorry, you misspoke. Not you. I mean,
I meant to
Neil
say
Stephenson.
no, the Russians. I mean the Chinese. I mean the Oh, I don't know.
Well, it was clear that someone would at some point. It still hasn't happened yet, but it's not too much longer, folks. I hate to break you, but America won't always be on top.
While Bo mentioned something about perfect casting earlier, and I think we have to give props, as the Spill Crew did in their Star Trek review, to Carl Urban.
Oh yeah.
God.
Man, what a just okay. Now Quinto did a perfect impression of Spock, But Carl Urban
channeled DeForest Kelly.
Thank you. Yes, he
Th-
really
there's-
did. It wasn't
Crack
just
in the
an
hole and your blood boils in
It's
13
like,
seconds.
oh yeah, you think it'll be funny when you catch Andorian shingles and your eyes are bleeding?
Not to mention, he had the single funniest line of the whole movie when he goes to talking about Spock. I like him.
I like him.
I like him.
Which in the retros, is only fun to someone who's actually watched the series.
His character was the hardest sell for me because McCoy is me. I'm the McCoy of Leah. Come on. It's the irascible guy who's just like, you're completely full of shit. Are you out of your goddamn Vulcan mind? It's not gonna work.
The wife took everything. I got nothing left but my bones.
It's funny because it was actually canon. Apparently, I didn't know this till my research that bones came from sawbones.
Yeah,
so that was a fun little rework on that. Like,
Yeah.
you know what? It's a parallel universe. It could have come from something else, and in this case, it's because women are bitches. No offenses to women in the room, because I've never married any of you yet.
But the night is young.
The night is young.
And
Play some more of that song.
Leon is a registered reverend, so who knows what can happen. I got a keg full of beer.
But
Yeah, it's licensed, Reverend. Register is what you do when you have a gun.
Like I said, I got a refrigerator full of beer.
outside the wrecking of the Mustang, which, man, if I was that kid's
Sucked.
stepdad,
That sucks.
it would take me a week
That was
to
a
calm
Corvette.
down
That
enough
was- that
to
was a
figure out
Cor- that was a
how,
Corvette,
how much
not a
I was going to
Mustang.
beat the living shit out
Not
of him.
only was that a lame scene, but that was painful to watch.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
Oh well, that wasn't his stepdad. That was his brother.
his brother who owned the car, whoever it was.
Yeah.
I
Oh, I
would've
thought it was
called-
the stepdad,
I
too.
would have had to call Child
It,
Protective
it
Services.
may
voice
have been
of-
his stepdad, but I mean the canon is that his brother is older than him, and yeah, I mean,
Some grandpa.
yeah, exactly.
Oh no! What?
Time travel.
But the whole thing with the green woman was a little bit much for me. It felt kind of crowbarred
Oh, I
in there.
like that.
Oh, I thought that was
Yeah,
cute.
I thought that was cute.
You know what's funny is like in the original show, I remembered because we always saw in the credits the Green Woman, but that was never even really real. That was from that was from the Menagerie episode where it was just a hallucination. That was one.
No,
Yeah,
Yvonne Craig, who played Batgirl, played the green
Yeah,
woman.
no.
Yvonne
did
Craig.
in the it's a third season when he goes to they
prison
go to
planet, right?
it's a prison for the criminally insane, and Yvonne Craig, Batwoman, or excuse me, Batgirl, plays Orion's Orion.
as far as
girl.
I know, she came from Menagerie, the scene where they were going
Yes,
through hallucinations.
she is
where
that
the
is
girl,
an Orion girl.
one of the roles she
but
plays.
they
is that.
had another one.
Did they? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I'll take
but,
your word for it
but
because
the
you are
thing is,
much bigger Star Trek geek than
exactly.
I am.
But the thing is that Orion girls are generally slave stock, so the idea that one would be in Starfleet is a little bit of a stretch, but that's only for like big fucking geeks like me. So who fucking cares?
Yeah, it was-
You know, I thought it was a clever little wink and nod.
Well, she's like, I mean, the green girl
And
is
the fact that she
iconic
was
for Star
the
Trek
fact
fans
that
who are
she was
casual.
the fact that she was like a tramp was kind of cute.
And while I recognize all that, it's still for me. It was just like that's a bit much, guys. Okay, I get it.
Didn't bother me at all. I
Potential
thought it
non
worked perfectly.
sequitur. Leon, what is the name of the person who played Catwoman in Batman series?
Which one? There was three.
Yeah, there were three. Lee
There was Lee
Merriweather was
Merriweather, Julie Newmar, and Eartha Kitt.
and Eartha Kitt. Yeah.
Okay, because I think one of the women in the one episode of Star Trek I've seen, the Guardians of
Julie
Triskelion.
Newmar was on.
Yeah, Julie Newmar.
Oh, sorry. No, it was Lee Meredith.
I think
it-
Julie,
Lee Merriweather.
Julie Newmar was in an episode.
She might have been. but
The girl in the aluminum foil bikini, the alien chick.
What in the Gamesters of Triskelion? No,
Yeah.
she was never a Catwoman.
Oh, okay.
Although she was a minor softcore porn star at some point.
Oh, that chick with the big
Who was it?
blonde bouffant hair.
No, the green-haired chick from the Gamesters of Triskelion.
Yeah.
Kinda
hot.
She's the first one that Kirk pulls the line on. Do you see that little star over there?
Okay, we're getting
That's where
nerdy
I'm
past
from.
the point of entertainment for non-Star Trek fans. So let's move this back out a little bit. Let's pull out a little bit here, and we'll get back in here. We'll say Spider John. I know.
Again? We
No,
already
I'm sorry. Guitaro Man
Okay.
says, I was wondering where would you like to see the Star Trek franchise go from here? Should the creators reimagine famous stories in future movies? Should there be a new series on TV following the new movie? What are your thoughts?
They should just keep doing kick-ass movies and not trying to remake stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I think as far as this timeline, you're absolutely right. But I think that they should also go back and do a TV series, a new TV series based on what's going on right now in the world. Part of which would be dealing with what would happen based on the events of this movie with the fucking Romulus blowing up. Like the absolute chaos that would happen to the Federation in that timeline. Fucking Romulans running around everywhere, all sorts of craziness going on. I think you could
Vulcans being an endangered species.
Yeah, well, no, that's not in the that timeline because that only happened in the new timeline.
I think given the evolution of serialized TV lately, they could do a lot of really interesting things now with a new television series for the Star Trek. That
Absolutely.
would really get a lot of new people watching.
You watch
it.
Battlestar Galactica and the level of the effects that were capable on that show, and the fact that you can get writing of that quality now for television. I mean, really, you don't think there's? It's like one of those things like you don't think there's writers of that quality who are willing to make Star Trek that good of a show.
It just seems like Enterprise was just a little bit too early.
That was a little bit too early.
There has always and long been an allusion to a big war between the Federation and the Klingon Empire that predates the original series.
Yes.
I would love to see that going on, the conflict with that, and also watching doing a series that's based on that's based on Starfleet coming out of a completely military basis and moving into that, becoming explorers, becoming scientists, becoming people that are exploring the quadrant and trying to bring new people and becoming diplomats. I mean, to an extent that's kind of mirroring what's going on now. I mean, we've been at war for a while now, and now we're trying to reapply, ideas of diplomacy. We obviously this happened before with World War II. We were this full-blown war culture, and then we went into becoming, these highly developed diplomats in the 50s. I would love to see something like that, done on the terms of Star Trek.
I can't help but feel like it's a mistake, though, if the movies are going to be following this early period to go with a TV series that is
I'm not
with
saying
that.
I'm just going with my fantasy.
No, okay.
I agree with what you're saying. Sure. I mean, the movie is completely going in another direction, and that wouldn't tie into it. But so what? I mean, DS9 was going when some of the last movies were going, and nobody paid really much attention
I think,
to
like,
that.
if you do a TV series taking place in the, what happens post. In fact, you could even tell that story we were talking about in the comics. Like, I mean,
sure,
you could do at least the repercussions of that. You could even eventually tie in, like Star Trek likes to do. Apparently, if you pretty much accidentally put your gum in the wrong place, it'll open up a time portal or create a parallel universe.
See, I really think that they should do a moratorium on any kind of time stuff.
Bazooka Joe, notorious time traveler.
Yeah. I think they should do a moratorium on any kind of temporal anomalies, like for the next 3 or 4 movies at least, and for whatever series they do next.
Work for Heroes. Oh, wait.
No, it didn't. Well, guys, I think we're going to get near the end on this one, but
let Fish have a chance. He's been sitting over there quiet.
Well, I'm always waiting for Fish to say something.
Fish, and Mike is yours.
Fish likes to sit back and just be entertained. I'm always like, every break, I'm like, Fish, seriously, anything you want to say, you just lean in and say it. We'll make time for you. But
Mr. Fish.
But then he just goes,
"Yeah, I've been wanting to say this for a while. You guys are nerds. What's wrong with you?"
Nerds.
Yeah. I'll let you get away with that once you can tell me what sex is like.
Wow.
Come on.
Who's the bigger nerd, the nerd or the nerd who follows him?
But we're going to end here with Brock Sampson, who asked really the question that we've been leading up to here, which is, what is the greatest Star Trek moment of all time out of any movie or episode? And we're going to go round robin with absolutely everyone here. I'm going to have to go with the classic because it really is. Come Khan! I'm sorry.
one.
Gives
It's a
me
good
the
one.
chills just saying it. That is one of the greatest moments ever. in
I
Star
thought for
Trek.
sure you'd say the whole Amazing Grace played on the bagpipe
Oh, man.
at Spock's funeral.
Oh, that was good.
God.
No, I said greatest. That's the moment that makes me cry every time.
Buried alive. Buried alive.
Kristen?
No, I haven't seen everything, but my favorite episode of Next Generation was the one where that, I don't know the name of it, but the little satellite thing comes and beams Picard into
The inner light.
Yes. And it was just kind of just the end of the episode after he'd seen everything, and he's sitting there, he's looking at the flute. That just really got to me.
Oh yeah, that's. Oh,
I mean, that is arguably the single best episode of The Next Generation. No question about it. Bo, did you hear the question? What is the greatest Star Trek moment of all time out of any movie or episode? Khan has already been called.
I'd have to think about it for a second. You might want to go around.
All right. Greg, you've seen a lot of this stuff. You actually can. Greg actually, he may be.
Oh, well-
sports guys like Star Trek for some reason. I haven't been able to figure this out yet, but they do.
Well, no, it was always an interesting, great TV show, and the movies are always interesting. I think as far as canons go, I think it's easier to be a casual fan of Star Trek without really getting into it and still kind of understand a little bit of it. Maybe even more so than Star Wars. So I was always able to casually find it. But my favorite spot, I'm going to let Jason say because I know what I think you're going to go with.
Probably.
I'm going to say.
It's from 2,
Yes.
and it's it's when Kirk and Spock are on opposite sides of the glass, and Spock is dying.
I thought we already called that.
Well,
No, I recalled the Khan moment. Though.
Oh, I
Yeah,
Khan!
yeah. No, my favorite one, and something I referenced earlier in the podcast was when he says, "Jim, I have been and always shall be your friend."
They have such a bromance going on.
Oh, yeah.
in that movie.
No, it is. It's the ultimate bromance. And as far as slash fiction, that's the most slash fiction that has ever been written. Spock Kirk slash fiction.
Yeah, I mean,
Which is sad because such a misunderstanding of what is one of the greatest friendships ever. And the
Well,
very definition of friendship. Two really different guys who understand each other and work great.
It's almost
and
as good as Han and Chewie.
Or me and Leon.
As far as that goes, I'll give you 2. I'll give you my movie one and my TV one. I'm obviously in lockstep with Jason here, and we've discussed this many times. But beyond that, in the same movie, the funeral scene. Yeah. When you get, Scotty in his kilt, I mean, the whole fucking thing, he's playing Amazing Grace in the bagpipes, and Kirk's there, and he's just like, of all the people that I knew in this universe, he was the most human. And you're just like, fuck, man.
No, fucking Maxim magazine, which I hardly ever read, but I remember they did a thing about like the only moments you're allowed to cry as a guy, and number 1 was
Really?
Death of Spock.
Oh, hell yeah.
That being said, as far as the series, and this is it is one of William Shatner's most overwrought performances ever, but it still fucking gets me, is when he gets on the planet where they're the civilized Chinese people and the barbarian white
Yangs
people,
and the Khans?
yes, and the Yangs and the Khans, and it comes out and the Khans end up winning the struggle, and they start saying their sacred words, and Kirk goes up and he pulls it out, and it turns out that it's the U.S. Constitution. He's like, these words weren't meant for just your folk or their folk. These words are for everyone. We, the people of the United States of America. And just, starts reading the preamble. And it's just like, I mean, if he chewed the scenery even more, there would be nothing left on celluloid but William Shatner's teeth.
Which is funny because, like, in retrospect, with everything we've known since then that's happened, that would mean next to nothing. In fact, it'd be like, here's where we went terribly wrong as civilization goes.
But that being said, I mean, I still messed up when I read that, or when I watch it. It's just like, fuck. Yeah.
Caleb?
Well, I'm so not the boy who can pull out the line from the movie. And I guess it goes back to, we kind of briefly touched on the difference between Star Wars and Star Trek. And Star Wars is just that. It has these creatures, and then it's great, and it's beautiful, and it's done. Where Star Trek, there's always this possibility for more, True. And you can always go to a different planet and meet a new creature. And then they also have decks that let you go wherever you want on top of that. So it's like, it can be anything. And so I've always really connected to that part of it. And also, we're kind of watching Next Generation right now. And Jodie LaForge's glasses, I remember I was about to get glasses. For the first time, I was freaking out. And they showed me, my parents were like, here, look, when he wears these visors, he can see everything. And so I thought I was going to, when they show it through his things and you see all the colors.
You thought you were going to see that
I thought I was going to see everything.
But that was one of those highlight moments where you were that excited.
My God, if that was any more adorable, she would have turned into a teddy bear.
I like that. Kayla for the win.
Leon? Kayla for the cuddly wuddly win.
Well, now that you guys have taken all the best answers, what's left for me? Just these personal moments.
There's so many great.
I'm sorry, Leon, because you've never caught the best answer.
Hey, I'm not getting on you guys for it. I'm just saying you got all the best answers, but coming down on like number 2 or number 3, I'm going to say I keep referencing this episode, but. When Kirk beams onto the planet, the whole thing, the distress signal, he beams down. Okay, you guys got a problem. What is it? And they go like, we tried to tell you not to beam down here. We're in the middle of a war with the other side, and we do all our wars by computer. We don't actually shoot each other. That way we get to preserve our culture. Now, the computer, according to our computer, your ship was in a place that got blown up. So to be fair, you have to beam your whole crew down here and march them into the death machine. And Kirk is looking at the guy the whole time he's explaining it like, what are you, stupid? There's absolutely no way I'm going to do that. I mean, and yeah, this is what both talked about before, where he wipes his ass with the Prime Directive. He's like, I will change this entire culture before I give up my ship. He's not about giving up his ship. Like Star Trek V, the one that everybody hates, I still love that moment when they meet God and God's like, oh, you have a ship. What? Perhaps I could use this ship.
Why does God?
Yeah, and like everybody's reverent. They're so reverent of God, but then Kirk breaks out of space and like, whoa. Why do you need a ship?
Dude, like, Star Trek V works on a total camp level.
If you go to like any kind of used bookstore, you will probably be able to find like a little diary that has Kirk on the cover, and the line under it really sums it up. He's just like, I've already got a lady. Her name is Enterprise.
Well, that's the thing.
and you know, yeah, that's totally Anchorman cheesy, but on the other hand, yeah.
It's what makes him him. I mean, as much as he loves Spock, he loves that ship and his responsibility more than anything.
And that's another classic movie scene is when they have to destroy the Enterprise in search for Spock, and he's just watching it go down. And like everybody else behind him, like the whole crew, they're like, "Oh, well, that's sad. We spent a lot of time on there." But he's just like, "There she goes."
No. It was like when my dad's Lincoln Continental got stolen.
Exactly. Exactly. Right there with you, man.
Which was actually the same size as the Enterprise.
Man, he loved that car more than us. He made us wash it all the time, and it got stolen from church.
Sold it.
He sat on the couch with a beer
stole your
and a
Lincoln from
tear in his
church?
eye.
Soul date 1973. These are the voyages of the Funkenstein.
These are the voyages of me finding some car-stealing motherfucker and fucking him the fuck up.
But I also got to mention this because we got it on the TV right now. Picard is always like the coolest guy, but I love in
First Contact.
First Contact when he finally loses it. When Alfred Woodard is like, you're just turning into Ahab hunting the Borg. He's like, you goddamn right. The line must be drawn here.
No, and he's
the line must be drawn.
There's that point. He's always so calm.
Yeah.
And then there's that point he goes, look, I am sick and tired of this bullshit. Did you see what they did to me?
Exactly.
Did you see what they did to me?
Number 1, meet me in the ready room. naked.
He was like a rape
sorry.
victim.
No, he was too. Well, he was.
yeah,
They totally.
absolutely.
That was much worse than rape, dude. They drilled into his brain
Yeah.
and put shit in there. You know.
And
Yeah, it's more
And
like
his
marriage.
See.
no, they totally did that. What? You never read about aliens? What's wrong with you people?
Jason, did you already do your moment?
He did. But
did.
Allison,
Allison, Aloysius.
These are not the Hellier whales.
Nice. So simple and yet effective and true.
These are not the Hellier whales.
The hell I am.
Hey, we are looking for your nuclear vessels.
Yeah.
Does anyone know where the nuclear vessels are?
Hello, computer.
Computer!
How
Computer! Oh, how quaint.
You need to use the mouse. Oh. Hello, computer.
For reals, when I was little saw Spock's funeral, and I really seriously cried for like 2 or 3 weeks at night. Like, please, God.
okay, now
Allison, Cyrus, Leon, and Jason and I watched that just the other day, and we're still crying about it. So
I'm crying right now inside. I don't think I'll ever get over Spock dying in that movie.
he does come back. You know,
It doesn't matter.
It's not the same.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It was like, no.
I've said this I think once before on Leog, but there was a point I was just trying to find soundtrack cues to throw in for my little breaks that I do with the movies, and one of them was like that Scottish, version, the bagpipe version of the end theme from Star Trek 2, and I started crying immediately just hearing that goddamn version of the music from it. I was like, this is the most embarrassing thing ever, and I don't care. It's the most profound death next to your own father dying. Grant?
Yeah, well, all the good ones have been taken. So going off of
Row your boat.
Well,
from,
yours would have been Weenie anyway. So
yeah, I haven't seen a whole lot of Star Trek, but I did also see the 4th movie with the whale that Allison was talking about, and
The Voyage Home.
In a way, I think that really ties into the new one that we've seen, and the fact that there's one scene I really like where Scotty's he's working with a computer in the past to try and create, I guess, invisible aluminum,
transparent aluminum.
And someone goes up to him and is like, "Hey, you can't do that. These people haven't invented that yet." And he's like, "Well, how do you know this wasn't the guy who was going to invent it?" And I think a lot of that parallels kind of things where Spock intervenes in this newest movie. And
Well, I love the fact that-
you really brought that out. That's true.
It's because that has been the attitude of Star Trek.
Yeah.
Unlike most science fiction, that's always you can't do that. Star Trek has been kind of like, really, it's all going to be fine. You just do what you're going to do.
That's actually another great bit from when Scotty actually does his guest appearance in The Next Generation, and he's hanging out with LaForge, and LaForge is like, giving some very precise parameters to the captain, and he's just like, lad, never tell him that. You always want to leave yourself like 10% room, so when you say, I've given it all you got, I'm not really saying that. Come on!
It'll take 3 weeks, Captain.
And LaForge just looks
You've
at
got
him
one.
like he just shat out a unicorn. He's like, I would never say something like that. I would always tell the truth. He's like, are you out of your mind?
Which is proof positive that LaForge was a better engineer than Scotty was. Because
No, Scotty knew how to do his job better.
No, I don't agree with that.
Dude, I follow the Scotty model all the time.
No.
Whenever I'm asked how long
That
it's going to
explains
take.
a lot.
Yeah, hey, man.
under promise and over deliver.
Thank you.
Over-deliver.
No,
that's old school,
you're right.
son.
No. LaForge is a better officer. Scotty's a better fucking engineer, because
And
that's
yet
how
LaForge-
engineers do
And
it.
yet LaForge always pulls something out of his ass, too.
Wait, isn't that what happens in the second one when they're stranded in the planet and he
LaForge
has all
doesn't
that
pull
whole
shit
core?
out of his ass.
Yeah,
Fucking
you know
damn
what?
it.
You won't
Wesley
see-
Crusher pulls something out.
You won't
That's
see.
true.
You won't see.
Oh!
You won't see
No.
Scotty doing any reading rainbow bullshit. I'll say that right now.
And LaForge,
Wait a minute,
if you
Yeah, what's that
Doesn't
about?
the guy who plays Scotty only have one hand? Or like, didn't he lose in a war or something?
What are you?
No, what are you talking about?
He's missing a finger.
He is missing a finger. Yeah.
Yeah, not in the context of the show, but
I know. I'm just saying,
mixed-
losing
but-
a hand is a lot different
but
than losing a finger.
Also, Fish. Your
Fish, it is your turn. You better. This is the last round. So
Yeah,
you're the
when
last
Darth
guy.
Vader tells Luke that I'm your
Oh,
father.
Oh, right. And take him out.
beating
Beat
stick.
shit out of him.
Guess whose stock is going up? That's you, Fish.
I hope you have a real answer, because otherwise you're real dead.
No, when Kirk is explaining how he passed the Kobayashi Maru Khan, and he's like, I'm such a smug bastard.
Yes,
that
he
is
is,
true.
isn't he? We kind of love him for that. I think we admire Kirk partially because he is the smug bastard we could never get away with being, and he always succeeds.
It's about, and that, I mean, that's one of the best, like, you know, like little internet things going around is that poster of him going like, I'm sorry, I can't hear you with the sound of how awesome.
Yes. Maybe the best internet macro ever.
And most people, you know, you'd be like, yeah, he's just a dick. But with Kirk, you're like, yeah, pretty much.
That's true. If he was here right now, I think he would say something like, well, that's it for this episode. This is the end.
Can we let Bo do that?
Yeah, let Bo do that. I'm sorry.
I was about
do
to
it,
say.
Bo. Take it. I'm a terrible, do terrible impressions. So
Spock, I believe that we've covered all that we need to cover on this particular episode of Leo. But just remember that we'll be back. We'll be back next week with another 0.5 episode. Until then, keep your eyes on the stars. Warp Factor 9.
what was the last thing?
Warp Factor 9?
No. I believe the last thing he would have said was,
Oh, I believe the last thing he was Long live
the lead.